the Citizen Defense Podcast. I'm your host, Todd. Evan is not here this week. He is on vacation with his family, so I'm rolling this one solo. Hopefully, I can not get into the weeds, kind of snowball topic here, and we can keep it on point and get the point across of what we're trying to discuss here. With that, you can go follow us on social media. That is citizen_defense. If this is your first time visiting the podcast, please go like and subscribe. And we're also adding polls to the end of our episodes on Spotify. So we're asking questions like, what would you like to hear? Topics you would like us to cover, things like that. So please go fill out those polls, give us some feedback so we can give you more of what you're looking to hear. And with that, you can also find us on the web at our main website at www.citizendefense.net. And that's where we're going to have our training classes listed. If you go on there and you look and you don't see anything on the on the calendar, don't fret. Just get in contact with us, and we'll be happy to help you out with that. So with that, we're going to move on to this evening's topic, and that's going to be not focusing on drill mastery. Now, what is drill mastery, or what do people consider drill mastery, right? And when I think of drill mastery, I see it from a lot of newer shooters that they take a specific drill that they very much fixate on, that they're not very much set into the, let's say, whatever the par times are for the drill, that they can't meet that standard, right? They can't make that drill within that time. And so they just focusing on that drill. And instead of focusing on the skills that the drill requires for you to be able to shoot that drill within those time constraints, they just shoot the drill mindlessly over and over and over and over and over until they hit it. You know, they can, okay, I've shot this drill so many times, I've made it within this par time, I have now mastered this drill. That's not how we should be viewing drills. Okay. There's also the type of shooters that they use, some trainers they use drills as a scenario based type situation. So like the failure to stop or Mozambique drill, this represents a situation you got to do 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. And I try not to use drills as in the context of training scenarios, because if you're involved in a defensive situation, right, it's so dynamic that one thing is not going to be the end all be all, right? So when we look at our drills that we're choosing to shoot, whenever we're going to the range or what we're doing, what should we be focused on? Or what should we be considering with those drills? Okay, outside of the par times and things like that, the accuracy required, whatever, that's standard with it. But the one thing we need to think about with the drills that we're going to choose is our overall shooting goals, right? I need to stop and think, where am I at in my shooting journey? And what are my goals? Like, what is it currently that I am very much lacking on, that I am trying to, whether it's something I'm trying to correct, I'm trying just to progress and push harder. That it's not necessarily that I can't complete this drill. It's just that I want to push that much harder to find out where the wheels fall off. So to help me become that much more of a better shooter. And like I said, the second one I kind of rolled into that is, what skills does the drill require to be able to shoot it? And then the last one is going to be, do those requirements line up with our training goals, right? So there's no point really in shooting a drill that's not really doing anything for us, if that makes sense, right? Excuse me. I don't think that has any purpose in our training other than shooting it just for the sake of shooting it. So whenever we're shooting our drills, we need to be focused on our skill development. Okay, not using them for scenario based, using them for our skill development to actually progress in our shooting skills. Now, what do I mean by that? Our skill assessment. So a lot of these drills encompass several things layered into them: grip, vision, you know, I guess you could say trigger press, things like that. Some of them include movement. All those things have to come together right for the drill to work out, or to be able to shoot it at that particular level that you want to be able to shoot it at. So whenever we're trying to progress those skills to be able to shoot that drill in whatever manner we're aiming for, we're really going to have to shoot it to the point of figure out where our wheels are falling off and what needs to be assessed. So, am I paying attention to what's actually happening in my shooting? Or am I so wound up in just shooting that I'm just pressing the trigger and whatever happens, happens? So, we really need to be conscious of what's happening within our shooting. Or is my firing hand shifting in my support hand? Like, is my grip shifting? Do I not have a solid grip? Um, am I not, you know, pressing the trigger? Am I having issues with my trigger press? Is it trigger freeze? Am I a prepping pressing, and that's slowing me down, and I'm trying to get through the mind trap of that? Or is it a visual thing, right? Am I getting too focused on the dot and not target focusing? That's really where we need to delve into to figure out our issues. And to kind of give you an example of this, I'm going to give you Exhibit A, my own examples, um, where I really started pushing on certain things. Right now, my issue is I'm struggling in certain areas of movements and transitions, trying to cut that time down, getting more efficient. Not necessarily just faster, but more efficient. But a prime example of this is bill drills, right? Or cadence. I prefer cadence than just bill drills. But the bill drill is a great drill for focusing on cadence, sustained cadence of fire. And whenever I had first really started diving into, shooting aggressively, things like that, man, I was racking myself against a wall, because I was like, man, I know I can do this. I know I can shoot this better. I know I can shoot more accurately. What is, why am I having this problem? And that was when the time before, where I wasn't so focused on technique base, I had the mindset of, I need to crush the gun as hard as I can and hold it to where all I have is just this reciprocating mass on the top. And that's what's going to get this thing shooting straight, right? I wasn't thinking about, where's my dot returning? Am I target focused? Am I applying too much pressure to firing hand versus support hand? Is my grip shifting? I wasn't thinking about those things. I was just mindlessly shooting the drill, and I wasn't gaining any progress, and I couldn't figure out why. And I finally had to take a step back and start delving into some other instructors' contents and things like that, which eventually got me on the right path. And thank goodness that I went that direction, because now it has led me to being able to uh, assess and develop my own shooting and make progress as I go, and make significant progress, or just being able to identify where my issues lie. And seeing that is the goal, right? Being able to see those issues, because then we can jot it down, take note. Okay, man, like, my transition on this last one, like, I was dragging across the target. I didn't stop on a nice or good point. I didn't pick a small spot on the target. I was dragging on and dragging off. And so I need to work on that. And that's actually something that's currently going on. But yeah, so the key with our drills that we choose is going to be skill isolation and what we're actually looking to accomplish. So back to the story of when I was, having these issues with bill drills. When I started figuring out what was going wrong in my shooting, where I was having issues, okay, my grip's not right, or I'm focusing too much on pressure in this hand, I would actively, like, just consciously think about that one thing. I wouldn't worry about so much about the visual piece. I wouldn't worry about my accuracy. I wouldn't worry about my speed. The only thing I would do is try to maintain that same cadence and pay attention to where what my grip was doing. Okay, is this sufficient? Am I marrying up my grip good enough that nothing's shifting? And then, okay, get that figured out. Then I'd step over to the next thing. All right, am I target focused? I start throwing some tape on the red dot, make sure that we're target focused, do some occlusion. Then it came to, definitely making sure that I'm not tracking the dot. I definitely got caught up into the wanting a consistent straight up and straight down fall of the dot on the target. And while that would have been perfectly ideal, I had to learn mentally to let that go because I was holding myself back in how fast I could actually put rounds on target, right? So there are a lot of aspects to what goes into skill development that we can break all of this down into these little individual drills, these 3-second drills, right? Um, I shot the MXAD drill today by Mr. Mac Branca. That was my first time shooting it. And man, I got to tell you, like that for such a simple 8-round drill, which it's not a sloppy par time, right? You have to be on your shit. You have to be able to shoot to a certain level. But it has a transition at the end, one single transition with 2 shots at 12 yards. Now the distance is not the problem that I was having. It was the transition. It's dragging on to the target, breaking the shot prior to or a little late, and not picking a small spot on the target, settling, breaking, or going straight to that spot and firing my shots, right? Everything up close was pretty good. And then it was also the mental game of I knew that I had X amount of time to do this. So I knew at that those first 6 rounds at 5 yards, like I got to get those suckers out and ripping, right? I need to rip those in the A zone, get the transition over to get the 2 shots in the A zone. And it's that mental issue with me is what kind of kept me lacking on, is where I saw I was lacking on the drill, right? I recognize this and I realize that. So now I have more stuff to work on. Okay. Our training journey should never be perfect. If you're constantly going out to the range and you're shooting drills and you have whatever setup you like to use or whatever set of drills that you like to use, and if you go out there and you're doing reps, it's like, yep, on the A zone. Yep, on the A zone. Looks great. Perfect. It, if you're doing that, you're not training and you're doing yourself a disservice. If you really want to progress as a shooter, you really are doing yourself a disservice by doing that. Okay. And like the gentleman I just mentioned, Matt Pranka, Ben Stager, Nick Young, who we've had on here, they all advocate for the same thing, right? Which is where what I ended up getting into. And I'm not saying that I'm just following their stuff because, of who they are. It's like I followed that mantra because it worked, right? It worked for me in my development. And I've continued to put that forward. But you have to push yourself to a certain point in your shooting ability to find out where the wheels fall off, right? So if for another example of bill drill, right? Everybody chases a lot of people chase this 2-second drill bill. Hell, I chase the 2-second bill drill, right? I'm like this close. I'm getting there. I'm this close. But I'm in like the from concealment. I can do it in like the 2.1415. I did get closer to 2 today while dropping a Charlie, but that's right. That's pushing speed, finding out where the wheels fall off. So if you can shoot a bill drill within, the 3-second par time, the standard 3-second par time, that's fine, right? That's great. You did that, but don't stay there. Okay. We don't want to stay in that space. Start shooting faster. All right, your groups are open up a little bit, but you're in the A zone, right? All right, shoot a little faster. All right, we got some line breaks in there where we're kind of starting to reach it out. We're cutting down some time. All right, now let's really hammer on it. Whoa, shit's everywhere, right? I got deltas, a couple misses here. Yeah, the first shot was in the A zone, but everything else looks like bird shot, right? All right, now let's go do it again and try to pay attention to what happened whenever we're shooting at that pace that's causing all these things to fall apart, right? Everything was fine at this pace and married together. But once we start putting it, speeding up and shooting under more stress, higher time constraints, we're going to start finding the deficiencies in our shooting. Now, where's the progression? Once we start isolating these things, making progress in these small areas, and like I said, it's not overnight, right? This is not overnight fixes that we're going to do. Um, Once you start making these small corrections, they're eventually going to layer up and add together. And then next thing you know, you're shooting a drill or whatever at this level. And then you can keep progressing, keep progressing, and keep progressing. Now, what are you doing when you're doing this, right? You're not just mastering the drill. I know this could easily sound like you're mastering the drill, but you're not mastering the drill. You're trying to master the skills that are required to shoot the drill that you're shooting. Okay. Whether that's shooting it at the standard or pushing it well beyond the standard to try to do what a GM's doing over there. Okay. Whatever it is, that's what we're focused on. And I wanted to make this episode solely for newer shooters getting into just really just figuring out dry fire and drills and what we should be looking for and doing, because I mean, we all start somewhere, right? And I went through the same thing. And we need to have an understanding of what training actually is and what it isn't, right? Going to a class and somebody putting you through some drills that they claim are scenarios and just, not really giving you a whole lot of instruction is not necessarily training. Or they do give you some instructions, you make some corrections, a good pat on the back, good old boy, out the door on your way, got you a certificate, you're good to go now, and you can solve all the problems of the world because of this magnificent amount of training that you have had. That's not what we should be doing, and that's definitely not what I think we should be instilling into defensive shooters, right? So one of my classes that I offer is it's a CCW mechanics, and it is just that. It is the mechanics of it. It's not about a whole lot of use of force stuff or things like that. It's about the hard skill fundamentals, what we need to focus on to develop better speed, efficiency, and accuracy from concealment, which is a lot of the times what a lot of concealed carriers are looking for, right? They want to be able to make sure that they can have that accountability if they are ever called upon. And, it's not that we shouldn't have classes that are, so defensive minded that they go over law and use force and everything like that. I mean, you need to have those classes 100%. Um, but I don't think that those classes are the absolute end all be all classes for defensive shooting. I definitely think there needs to be some. It shouldn't be any of the slow down and get your hits for accountability. It should be, we need to find out where the wheels fall off and fix it. And so that way we can absolutely do our best to guarantee that accountability. Not say, well, we can have more accountability if we slow down. That's not the way that we should be approaching any of our training or with any of our drills that we're choosing to shoot. So yeah, I know I definitely got down to a little bit of a rabbit hole on that, but yeah, drill mastery is something we shouldn't get too hung up on. We should be shooting our drills based off of what our overall goals are, and keep it like that, man. It's super simple. There's a ton of drills out there that you can shoot. I'm probably actually going to order some targets. I'm going to get the casino drill from Tom Givens. I haven't shot that one before, so I know what the standards are for it, what's required of that drill. but I want to get it and, shoot it for myself a couple times, check it out. I know it's supposed to be a great drill, and I want to see what my capabilities are. Now, one thing that I forgot about this is the difference between skill development drills and assessment drills. So this is also another problem that I see sometimes in the training space, is that some instructors have an assessment. Well, I wouldn't say it's assessment, a standard, right? They have their standard that you have to pass to graduate their class. And if you don't pass that standard, then you have to come back and take that class again, keep spending your hard-earned money to try to go get that certificate or that patch or that coin or whatever it is to try to pass that class, right, with that standard. Now, I don't necessarily should there be standards? Yes. But I have a different opinion about standards, because if I'm hosting a class and I have a standard and I tell that person that, oh, well, you're sorry you failed it, sorry you didn't pass the class, you had to, pay X amount of dollars and come back. When that person leaves, they're probably not going to be focused on all the rest of the stuff that I just coached them on. They're going to be focused on that standard and that standard alone, and that's all they're going to shoot. That's all they're going to shoot until they can pass it and then come back and take that class again, right? Whereas if we do something as an assessment, I prefer an assessment, right? Because assessments are shot once. Okay, they're generally shot cold. And what that is a your skill on demand at that time, that day, regardless of your situation, right? It's an assessment to see where your skills lie. And there's no makeups, there's no takebacks. And so what I do in mine, I shoot an assessment at the beginning of class, see where they're at, see where they lie. Okay, this is what we need to work on. All right. Then we'll go through the class, and then we'll shoot the assessment at the end of class. Now, granted, are they warmed up and have they worked on things? Yes, but that is a way for them to see their progression. And they have that assessment now for a baseline for their skill development, right? So, okay, I have this assessment. I have this baseline scoring, of what my capability is, or I'm below it, whatever, where I lie in this. Now I can go train on the skills that we talked about, that we trained in class, and then I can go shoot this assessment again and start paying attention and seeing if my skill is actually progressing based off this assessment. So, whatever drill that is, I do think it is beneficial for shooters to have an assessment drill, but understand that assessments and skill development and standards they're all in their different categories, right? So, shooting a standard, skill development, assessments. And you should take advantage of 100% assessments and skill development drills, but don't get so hung up on the like I said, shooting an assessment. Don't sit there and shoot it over and over and over and over and over until you try to get the skill that you want, because that kind of falls back into focusing on drill mastery. Same with standards. I'm going to shoot those standards over and over and over and over and over until I can pass it. So focused on the standard, that one little standard, I'm overlooking all the other aspects of my shooting that are actually required of why I'm having issues with that. So I guess that could sound kind of, all mixed up together, but I'm sure y'all catch the drift of where I'm going with this. So this one's going to be pretty short. We're right here at the 25-minute mark. Hope y'all got something out of this. If you did, please go leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If y'all have any questions, leave a comment. Let us know. Like I said, answer the polls on Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think of the podcast, what y'all think about this topic. We don't have all our episodes posted on YouTube. So we're kind of trying to catch up with some more recent stuff since we rebranded. And yeah, so until next time, everybody, look forward to the next episode. We are going to have a special guest lined up for that one. We've been trying to get him on for a while, and he's a top-notch shooter. He's more in the law enforcement tactical space, so we can definitely get into the weeds about what he's doing, and he's doing some pretty awesome stuff in relation to law enforcement. So looking forward to that conversation with him. Y'all stay tuned for that one. Should be coming out here before the end of this month, hopefully, maybe the first of next month. If you go and hit that subscribe, you'll get alerts for all our episodes. Until next time, guys, I hope everybody has a fantastic week and get out there, get to training, and y'all stay safe.